All right, everyone, welcome back into another NBA props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets for the Saturday slate. We have a big 10-game slate. I'm going to be breaking down as much as I can for you guys in this video. I am recording this on Friday night. I plan on doing a Saturday breakdown as well, but with it being a 10-game slate, I wanted to get this out to you guys a little bit earlier. So the first game that we're going to be looking at is going to be some of the earlier games. Okay, I know we're getting some lines for that. That's great. I can touch on some of those games. So Bucks versus Knicks, 2.5 point spread, 240 for the over and under. So a very high scoring game. Looking at the injury report, Mitchell Robinson, unfortunately, out for the season for them. Sims is also out as well. So I think we're going to start to see a lot more. Julius Randle getting a lot more minutes there. Will be interesting to see if Giannis plays. I think we're going to expect him to play. That being said, these two teams do meet again on Christmas Day. So if Giannis is at all questionable, I personally do not think it'd be too shocking to see him actually sit out in this game simply because they want him to be healthy and good to go for that Christmas Day game. Now he's listed as probable. Again, I don't think we're too worried about him sitting. So let's go and take a peek at the props that we are getting for this game. And guys, I will be using Underdog simply because, well, they have the props out right now and PrizePicks does not. It's kind of a nice thing because typically we can gain a small edge by doing so. Like right now we're getting Giannis at under 11.5 rebounds is one of the better EV bets that we were getting for the slate. It's definitely an interesting line because he has been someone that really has been kind of dominating for the rebound department. I would say going against the New York Knicks now without Mitchell Robinson there, I personally do think he has a great chance to continue to get that over. Now, he always seemingly plays well against the Knicks. I do think a triple-double is certainly within the realm of possibilities there for him. But all in all, in a few games this season thus far, he hasn't been able to get over his average of 11 rebounds. So at 11.5, I could see why the data is suggesting that we want to bet the under there. The next one is going to be Brook Lopez for over 1.5 threes made. The thing with Brook is he's always someone that is going to get some three ball attempts up, typically around 4 or so per game. He just needs to make half of them, which is exactly what he did in the last game. All in all, I don't know if I exactly want to go in on that. Looking at the first game against the Knicks, got 4 up and then 10 up. Again, I don't know if we want to draw too many conclusions from that. The Knicks are going to kind of be a different team with Mitchell Robinson out, but you know, that's another decent prop bet that we're getting. And then Chris Middleton, we got to take a peek at all of these for Chris Middleton because rebounds and assists 8.5. The data is favoring the under there. Turnovers at 1.5. The data likes to see over there. Chris Middleton points 14. I don't know, for a 240 game, the lines that we're getting on Chris Middleton seem to be a little bit strange because, again, for this high scoring game, if he's going to be getting 30 or so minutes in this game, I kind of expect him to get the over. You know, look at the first game against the Knicks, 12 points in just 21 minutes. The last game, 26 minutes, 14 points. Now, he has been shooting the basketball enough. More times than not, I think he's going to give us this over at this line, especially in this situation. To me, I think that'd be a better bet on one of the sports books where, you know, we're not betting on the over when the data is telling us to bet the over, when the data is giving us a 52% likelihood for the under to hit. So definitely an interesting one there. Damian Lillard at over for 10.5 rebounds and assists, about a 53% chance for that one to hit. Again, this is a game I do think we could stack. This is a game where it wouldn't be shocking to see him get this over. 10.5 honestly seems to be extremely low for this game. A 240 game, a game that's projected to stay close, especially when one game says stay close, he seemingly does get the over in those situations. And then looking at the two matchups with New York, 10 in that game. That game was a blowout. And then the first game, I don't know if we want to draw too many conclusions from that. Kind of just a different dynamic that was going on for the Bucks then. But personally, I do kind of like this game. You know, it's surprising to me that this early we are getting some, you know, pretty decent bets. These are bets that I could see eventually becoming EV bets. Again, guys, we are typically trying to find bets that have a 54% likely to hit. Obviously, none of those ones have that just yet, but I could see that happening throughout the day, throughout the night. Now getting into the New York Knicks, we're not going to get that many prop bets. We're going to get RJ Barrett, we're going to get Julius Randle, and we're going to get Jalen Brunson because all in all, that's who we're really concentrating on for them. I do think Julius Randle does have a good chance to get the over turnovers. He is someone that is playing a lot of minutes. This game, again, is supposed to be high scoring, projected to stay close. With him having a little bit of added usage, I wouldn't be surprised to see him get over 2.5 turnovers. You look at the last game against Milwaukee, he had 4 in that game. First game against Milwaukee, only 1. So it kind of is a weird sample there. But all in all, the more minutes he's going to play, the more likely he is to have those turnovers. Rebounds and assists at 14.5. Again, that's a pretty high line. We can see typically is right around there, though. Again, we'll take a peek at the last two matchups, 11 and then 17. So really not a good indication of what we should be expecting from Julius Randle. All in all, maybe we're just staying away from that. Jalen Brunson, 6.5 assists is what the line is set at, and it's about a 56% likelihood for that to hit. So all in all, they have bumped it down to 6 because of that. And then same thing for his rebounds, kind of in the opposite way. They pushed it up. So I actually just want to take a peek at the points, rebounds, and assists for Jalen Brunson, because he is going to get a decent matchup there going against Damian Lillard. Again, he is someone that should get higher minutes in a game that's going to be higher scoring. The last game against Milwaukee, 33 points, rebounds, and assists, so just under that. Again, that game was a blowout. You give him a few more minutes in that game, he gets that, and then really crushed in the first game against Milwaukee. So I'm reading through this, and to me, it's starting to just seem like maybe more of a game that we are trying to. I do want to take a peek at RJ Barrett, see how he's been shooting the basketball. Not like really well. I would say he's kind of due to have a good game shooting the basketball. Against Milwaukee, 7 for 18, 1 for 4, not that good there, but still had 23 points, and that was his only game against Milwaukee. So let's go ahead and move on into the next game. We are going to get some props for the Boston versus Clippers game. The issue with that game is it's also an afternoon game. I guess that's not a problem. It's just a lot of people are going to be more focused on NFL, I would say, at that time. But 1 point spread, 230 for the over and under. Looking at the injury report here, Kawhi is currently a game time decision. We'll see on that. He sat out last game, and James Harden had a really good game, as you would expect. We do know that Porzingis is going to be out in this game, which is some important news. And then Jason Tatum is currently a game time decision. And guys, he is truly currently questionable. He sat out in the last game. Again, I believe they're playing on Christmas Day as well. I would say that slightly increases his likelihood to sit in this game, but they want to play in front of these kind of prime time kind of island type games where there's going to be more attention. It's just fun to play in those types of games. So all in all, I think Tatum, we probably want to be looking at, he should have a good game. If we get news that, if he does play, I'm fully expecting him to have a good game. Now, we do know what to expect really with Porzingis off the court. It's really just been Derek White really taking a big step in his role, having a pretty big jump in his usage. He gets a 7% bump in his usage, averages about 8.2 more points per 36, and we have seen that the last 2 games. A perfect example of that. If you look at his per 36 production, and he is going to get those minutes basically, averages 22.6 points, 4.1 rebounds, 5.9 assists, and about 1 block and 1 steal per 36. So he is someone I certainly want to be looking at prop betting wise. Let's take a peek if we are getting any. I'd be surprised just because we do need that Tatum news. And so yeah, we're not going to get any prop bets for him just yet. Brown's kind of his role doesn't change too much. Sure, you can expect him to have a better game, or the likelihood of him hitting his averages I think is more likely with Tatum off the court, but then you run the risk of the game potentially blowing out and whatnot. All in all, Derek White's going to be the player that we want to jump on the most with the news that Porzingis is out. And for what it's worth, guys, with Tatum off the court, his usage jumps double that. So it's a 15.9% usage rate. So his overall usage rate is 33% with those two off the court. So if Porzingis and Tatum are off the court, again, he's going to be the player that benefits the most in terms of usage, in terms of production. His points per 36 with those two off the court shoots up to 28. Okay, steals and blocks go up to 4 total. And so he just really has a better game with those players off the court. And then Jaylen Brown, Jaylen Brown should be able to have a solid game regardless. Again, I don't think we're too worried about that. His role just doesn't change too much. Like it is what it is in this offense. Like, sure, I think we would expect him to his averages again a little bit more. We can see 36.5. That's basically a 50-50 split. I would imagine that would go up if we get news that Tatum's off. For what it's worth, guys, let's take a peek. His per 36 production is with Tatum and Porzingis off the court is 23.5 points, 5.1 rebounds, so not that great, and only 5.5 assists. Again, his role doesn't change too much. The only reason why you'd want to be going in on that for him is just trying to game stack that game. And so we can see really the only good EV bets that we were getting to start have been pushed down for Tatum. Again, we have no idea if Tatum's going to play. I would say this one is definitely interesting because we can see his rebounds. Actually, this is kind of fascinating. So his rebounds, they like the over. The average sportsbook line likes the over at 8.5. But then on the flip side of that, the average sportsbook line would also like the under for his assist at 4.5. So definitely kind of fascinating there to me, I would say. So the line should technically be at 13, I would say, given that. And so all in all, I do think that with this being at 13.5, let's bet the under there. I feel pretty good about that one. And then for what it's worth, guys, as well, I do want to mention Al Horford because with Porzingis off the court, Al Horford is going to get some heavy minutes in this game. He sat out in the last game. That Porzingis sat. Tatum did play in that game, and he just went off. This is what we'd expect. He's just going to be heavily involved as well. I just want to mention his stats as well so that we can be fully prepared for that. So looking at it, guys, he does average 9 well, let me just, I was looking at it with Tatum in there. I want to look at it with just Porzingis. So with just Porzingis off the court, he averages 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 4.5 assists. Kind of what we had in that game against Golden State. And so, yeah, I think the minutes are going to be heavy for him. He'd be someone we'd want to go in on once those prop bets are made available to us. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the Clippers now. And so looking at the Clippers again, I want to remind you guys of the injury news that we are waiting on for this game. Kawhi Leonard currently questionable. If he does sit, we're going to be looking at Paul George to have a good game and also James Harden to have a better game as well. Those are two players that really did have some pretty solid games. Now, more difficult matchup against Boston, kind of. Again, we're waiting on the Tatum news that would change a little bit. But yeah, Paul George has been playing extremely well recently. The issue that we've been having with the Clippers is the game's staying close, and that's kind of been the case with Boston as well. So as long as this game does stay close, I'm starting to see that we probably have a really good stacking opportunity because, again, these two games, look at the game log, just have not had games that stay close. And same thing with Boston. And so for the spread to be, 1 point, and the game over and under is not too crazy. I mean, 230, but all in all, I like that. We're going to get some good lines here. And so, yeah, they're going to give us some prop lines for Kawhi Leonard because he's questionable, and it's just a smart move. I've realized that PrizePicks Underdog in the sportsbooks, it's smart to give this line out because if he sits, oh well, like these would have been the lines if he plays. And if he doesn't, oh well, just refund people the money. You can't put lines out there for James Harden, for Paul George just yet. I do want to go over, though, again, the per 36 production with those players off the court. So taking a peek at the production for James Harden with Kawhi Leonard off the court. James Harden averages 27 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 8 assists, and does average 2 steals and a block per 36. And the thing is, he is probably going to get 36 minutes. I mean, his all of his averages bump up a ton. We have seen that. Like, it's just a good sample size. He's going to get a bump in usage as well. All that bodes really well for him to have a good game. He gets a 10% bump in his usage rate with Kawhi Leonard off the court. I mean, that is seemingly awesome. We want to be looking at him as a play for sure. I don't think they're going to properly value him, especially with this matchup with Boston that on paper seems to be difficult. And then, yeah, with Kawhi Leonard off the court, let's take a peek at how Paul George plays, because Paul George, obviously, very solid player. He has a 32% usage rate with Kawhi Leonard off the court, averages 30 points, averages 6.3 rebounds, and averages 4.9 assists. So, again, seeing a mass bump in both usage and production for him. He's someone we'd want to be looking at. And it's funny, like, he has not had the minutes lately because, well, games just have not stayed close for the Clippers lately. And I think that could potentially drive down their numbers. Now, my concern is that with this kind of being an island game, NBA fans are going to be watching it. It's Christmas Eve, as Elf would say, the movie Elf. We don't know what to do with that. It's kind of a primetime game. It's not the Christmas game, but it's a Saturday. People are probably going to be celebrating Christmas tomorrow, as well as on Sunday and Monday. So definitely interesting there. But yeah, he's going to have a good game. I do want to talk about Norman Powell as well. His per 36 production, I don't think we can bank on that. We're probably looking at closer to 30 minutes, but he does average 27 points per 36, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. So really just looking at his points. Okay, so now I know we have a few other games that we are currently getting prop bets on. It's going to be Orlando versus Indy, and I want to touch on that game. Then it's also going to be OKC versus LA. That's all the prop bets that we're getting right now. So that's all I'm going to cover for this video. Again, I'll probably do another shorter video tomorrow as well, covering the 6 other games, just kind of highlighting the best prop bets that we have available. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that first game. It's going to be the Magic versus the Pacers. So looking at that, it's a 1-point spread, 240 for the over and under. Looking at the injury report, Halliburton currently a game time decision. I'm expecting him to play. Jalen Smith, a game time decision as well. He was a late scratch, I believe, in the last game, so something to monitor. Guys, I mentioned that Cole Anthony would be someone we would be going in on very heavily if we got news that Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz were out. Obviously, Joe Ingles being out as well helped. We didn't get any of those prop bets. They were smart. They didn't give us that line. And Cole Anthony had himself an awesome game. And this is going to be such a pace up spot for them that we want to be targeting Cole Anthony again. 33 minutes in that game. Last game against Milwaukee, 17 shot attempts, 1 for 6 from 3. Had a terrible night shooting. Still ended up with insane production. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. The per 36 production with those players off the court would echo that as well. So definitely important to get that news. I do want to call it that Jalen Suggs is currently more likely to play than not, but all in all, Cole Anthony is still going to be a force if Joe Ingles is out as well. But definitely gets a huge bump with Jalen Suggs off the court. So hopefully we get prop bets on Cole Anthony. I don't know if we're going to. Let's take a peek at the lines that we are currently getting. And it's going to be Banchero and Wagner. Makes sense. Those are the 2 players that on a night in, night out basis you can count on. I do think that the rebounds and assists is kind of interesting for him, as well as the points. And then for Wagner, probably points and rebounds. So let's just take a peek at those two. Again, I'm using DraftKings just because it's easier. Looking at it, Banchero, rebounds and assists, averages about 7 on the season rebounds, and then averages about 4.5 assists. So that's only 11. So it's a slight bump, about a half of a bump there. Not too crazy, but really we're targeting this game against Indy. It's just a pace up spot. I think we're going to see that we want to be targeting this matchup every single week. Now, last game against Indy, he did struggle. One of his bad games, I guess, if you will. That's slightly concerning. I don't want to put too much of emphasis on matchups. Like, he has been playing fine. When games stay close, he's going to get 36 or so minutes. I'm personally fine with him as a play. I think I'd rather go with Wagner, though. Wagner is someone that we night in, night out, he's very consistent as a fantasy producer, just as a scorer and everything. So again, in this high pace game, I expect him to have a good game. I mean, last game against the Pacers, 19 points on 22 minutes, 7 rebounds. So if we take a look at this line here, basically got the over there. So I think that's one of my favorite bets there. Maybe go points, rebounds, and assists for him. I think those are 2 fine ones. Let's go ahead and take a peek at the Pacers. I'm assuming we're just going to get Halliburton props because, well, he does change the, yeah, we are. That's all we're getting right now. Makes sense, because if Halliburton's out, obviously it really changes the whole dynamic. TJ McConnell, you would expect to start and play a bunch of minutes, maybe not start, but play a bunch of minutes, 20 to 30 minutes in that game. He would really go off. I mean, we see the lines that he does when he does get minutes. Very solid producer. Tough to gauge what we'd want to do. And really, it's going to be tough to say what we should do for the Pacers in general if Halliburton's off the court, because everyone does get a bump, but it's tough to say whether it's going to be a Mathurin game or a Buddy Hield game, or heck, even an Andrew Nembhard game. Now, Buddy Hield has been playing well recently. I wouldn't mind the idea of continuing to ride the hot hand. I don't think we want to touch Miles Turner. All right, so now jumping into the last game here, it's going to be the Lakers versus the Thunder. Again, these are the games that we have lines for, so I want to get this coverage out to you guys. 3.5 point spread, 237 or so for the over and under. So again, another appealing game. Josh Giddey has been ruled out. That is a big piece of news I want to touch on. Hopefully we're getting prop bets for that. The Lakers, this is their typical injury report. They just list everyone as game time decision. I'm assuming they're all going to be good to go. We'll see. Maybe Gabe Vincent sits or something like that. Doesn't really matter. I'm expecting them all to play or to be active, and at least LeBron and AD. So yes, guys, Josh Giddey is going to be out in this game, and so I do think that's a big piece of injury news that we need to monitor. When you look at the per 36 production with him off the court, it's actually Isaiah Joe that gets a lot of minutes, and he's someone that's going to shoot the basketball a lot. I'm very curious as to what they would put his line out, because he probably only gets 28 or so minutes in this game. Don't get me wrong, but he'll give us like 12 shot attempts in those 28 minutes, 9 3-ball attempts. And so I'm very curious as to what his 3-ball prop line would be. If it's at 2.5, if we get it, I like that. Points as well, like 16.2 points per 36 with Giddey off the court. I like that. Again, we're probably looking at closer to 28 minutes, but all in all, he's someone that I think we would be looking at. Who benefits the most that's going to be in the projected starting lineup? It's tough to say, but yeah, he is projected to start, so I hope we get some prop. Naturally, my mind went to like Dort being a good play. His per 36 production is literally 12.9 points though, so to me that seems to be a little bit too thin. Usage wise, I mean, it's kind of weird, but like SGA does get a bump in usage with Josh Giddey off the court, so I'm curious, what are his points, rebounds, and assists at? That's really what I want to look at. So 46.5, that is crazy. The thing with him is if this game stays close, he's probably going to get that. He's going to get heavy minutes. He averages 40 points per 36 with Josh Giddey off the court, 6.7 rebounds, and 6.6 assists. It's a weird sample size, but it is a heavy sample. Now, he did face off against the Lakers earlier on this season, had, 44 points, rebounds, and assists. That game was a blowout, though. Again, this game is not expected to blow out. Only 35 minutes in that game. Again, you give him a few more minutes in a game that's expected to stay close. I do think that he gets the over there then. And so again, we're just really hoping that this game stays close. I want to take a peek at Chet Holmgren because his points, rebounds, and assists is only set at 29.5. And if he stays out of foul trouble, I think he has a good chance to get that over. He has kind of been crushing lately. Again, the concern would be potentially getting into foul trouble. That game was a blowout. If it stays close again, if he gets closer to 34 minutes in this game, he also would have got that over. So those two players, I really like the idea of betting the over for them in a game script bet, like betting on this game to stay close and thus them getting those minutes and thus getting their over. Again, Isaiah Joe, I feel like that's going to be the line that we want to go in on. Jalen Williams, you would think would get a big bump. He really doesn't. It's tough to really trust Jalen Williams. We can see the assist at 4. The data is still favoring the under there, because at 4.5, minus 165, 58% chance for the under to hit at 4.5. So even at 4, the data is telling us to bet the under. And for what it's worth, guys, his per 36 production with Giddey off the court is 5.3 assists per 36. But we take a peek at his minutes. I don't think we're going to see his minutes get a big bump. So interesting line there. And then jumping into the Lakers, guys, Yeah, we're only going to get Anthony Davis and LeBron James. That makes sense. The lines are extremely thin for them right now. I just want to take a peek at what they did last time against OKC. And I don't want to draw any like bias from that. I'm just curious because obviously they blew out OKC in that game. Anthony Davis, oh no, they got blown out in that game. Sorry. Anthony Davis played 36 minutes, 14 rebounds in that game, and he has been a rebound machine recently, especially in matchups that are favorable. I would argue this is a favorable matchup, and I probably would like the over if I had to choose. And I'm not saying we need to do that, but I would bet the over there if we had to choose. Heck, I think it'd be. Let's take a peek at the assist props as well. I actually don't mind the assist. Like if you're going to be betting the rebounds, could just do the assist as well at 16.5 rebounds. LeBron James points at 26. I don't know. My first reaction is that line is too low for LeBron. Just simply given the matchup, kind of. I know the attention is going to be on this game as much with it being a nighttime game and with there being 10 other games, not like the earlier games like I was mentioning where it's kind of a primetime game ish. In that first game against OKC, again they got blown out. Only 21 points. I mean, he's still crushed. So I get the lines that we're getting. To me, it probably feels like we're forced. Now, real quickly, guys, I do just want to touch on some of the other injury situations that we have that we know about. So a big piece of news that we're waiting on is going to be if Marcus Smart plays or not. If he's not, we're expecting Ja, Bane to really have high usage rate roles in their game. Looking at right now, Killian Hayes, a game time decision. He sat out last game. Jaden Ivey had a really good game. I would probably expect the same to occur. We know Jalen Duren is going to be out. Some big news here is going to be whether or not Keontae George, well, he's going to sit, but who would start if Horton Tucker's out? Because Horton Tucker currently a game time decision. Colin Sexton, you would kind of think would just have a big role, as well as Chris Dunn. Just it's a weird spot because I probably just want to stay away. That game would probably be a blowout. Horton Tucker, though, if he plays, guys, he's going to have a high usage rate. We saw him have a lot of assists, a lot of points compared to his average, and I would expect the same to occur, especially if Jordan Clarkson is out. I mean, that is, if Jordan Clarkson is out, we'd want to be looking at Horton Tucker. Okay, in the last game, he only played 30 minutes, but had 19 points, 11 assists. Honestly, I don't want to say I would expect that, but I do expect something of that nature because he's going to have a high usage rate role. Looking at Cleveland, guys, they are extremely banged up again. So Garland's out, Mitchell's out, Mobley's out, Rubio's out. And so they have been weird because the production has been like extremely spread out and very inconsistent. And now they're getting a weird matchup, honestly, going against Chicago. Looking at Jared Allen does kind of seemingly get a decent matchup. If they can keep this game close, Jared Allen should be able to crush rebounds. I would imagine the line would be set at like 9 or so, maybe 9.5. Again, assuming that the game stays close because he should get closer to 35 minutes then. Points is probably going to be at 14.5. If it's lower than that, I'd probably be fine betting the over. From there, like LeVert is really the only other player we can trust, but he is, I don't want to say trust. That's the wrong word for LeVert, but he's very hit or miss. But in terms of maybe upside bet, like he's either going to crush or not crush. Strus, he's probably the safe one. From there, it really becomes a guessing game. Okoro, I guess I don't mind. He had a better game coming in off of a terrible game the previous game. That's just it. We can't trust those players. That's why they're not stars, is because they're inconsistent when you ask them to do too much for too long. And then lastly, let's get into kind of the late night games. We have no idea who's going to be active for the Mavericks just yet. A lot of their players sat out as I'm recording this, so tough to say what's going to happen there. And then we do know some big news is Karl Anthony Towns out. I do want to spend some time touching on this because Rudy Gobert is going to get a nice matchup, and also Naz Reid is going to get a good matchup as well against the Kings. All right, so with Towns off the court, it's actually Reid that gets the most minutes, and he really is someone I think we should be looking at. The question is, how many minutes can we expect him to get? That'd be something I would want to look at in the 9 to 5 cheat sheet. That's going to be updated at the bottom of the sheet tomorrow when those projections update. Very interested in what his lines would be, because I'm expecting him to get 30 or so minutes in this game with Towns out. And if he does get us 30 or so minutes, he's going to crush. With him off the court, with Towns off the court, Reid only gets a 1.6 bump in usage, but it's like fantasy points per 36 goes up by 5. He averages 2.7 more points per 36, 2.3 more rebounds. Not more assists, but really a few more rebounds and a few more assists. That's huge. He's already a strong like point per minute type player. He's probably going to be someone that we're looking at. And I do want to talk about Gobert because he's also going to be someone that I do think benefits. Obviously, you would expect that with Towns off the court. Rudy Gobert's per 36 production, and I do think we can really bank on him getting 36 minutes, is 14.5 points, 14.9 rebounds, and then actually 1.2 assists. And then he averages 4 blocks and steals per 36 as well. And so he is someone, especially in this matchup against the Kings, I'm going to be highly intrigued in. I'm very curious where the line comes out to be. I would imagine it's going to be at 14.5 15.5 rebounds, as well as his points. And so I'd imagine his points, rebounds, and assist line is going to be at 30 or so. If those are under it, guys, feel pretty comfortable betting the over there, especially in the matchup against the Kings. And I'm not saying the Kings are a bad matchup, but we can see the last time out against the Kings, Rudy Gobert played 36 minutes in that game, 12 points, 11 rebounds, had himself a good game, even got into foul trouble a little bit. That's a concern, obviously, and that's where Reed could really go off. But all in all, I do think that there is something to be desired there, because he's going to get a slight bump with Gobert off the court. And for what's worth, I do expect Kyle Anderson to get a few more minutes in this game with Towns off the court. He could probably shift. He's going to play the 3 most likely, but with Reed off the court, he might play a little bit of the 4 as well. So again, let's just take a quick peek at the EV bets that we are currently getting for that game, or for the slate, for the early slate, the 4 teams that are playing. We see Giannis 11.5 rebounds. You could bet that one. Brook Lopez over 3s. I don't really feel comfortable with that one. Middleton turnovers, I don't really feel comfortable with that one. One that I'm okay with, I think, would be Dort for under rebounds and assists. That one is seemingly going to be a decent one. From there, I don't really want to get like a bet of the day out for you guys just yet, because I don't think that there's a huge advantage just yet for that for NBA. I'll show you guys kind of the ones I'm looking at right now. SGA for over rebounds and assists, points, rebounds, and assists. Sorry, Jalen Brunson over points, rebounds, and assists. Chat over points, rebounds, and assists. And then Dort for under his 6.5 assists. You could also do Giannis under 11.5 rebounds. Personally, I don't really want to do that one. And then for what's worth, I'll show you guys the EV bets that we are currently getting for tomorrow in general, if you wanted to attach maybe an NFL or NFL bet to that slip. And so right now we are still getting Joshua Palmer at over 3.5 receptions to be a really good one. We also are getting Isaiah Likely 3.5 receptions. Interesting for Gus Edwards at 2.5 receiving yards if Justice Hill is out, which I don't think we're expecting that. But if he were to sit, then yeah, Gus Edwards would probably have to be involved in the passing game. And we're getting a lot of really interesting NHL and college football props. All in all, these are all pretty solid ones that we are getting, so I'd be fine buying those. But yeah, these receptions props right here, guys, Likely and Joshua Palmer, I'd be fine attaching that to any of the NBA bets if you guys like those. I'll show you guys PrizePicks as well real quick. I typically do PrizePicks coverage. Obviously didn't do that tonight because, well, they don't have those lines out just yet. Really not that much. Logan Wilson over tackles and assists NFL wise. Josh Palmer again for over 3.5 receptions. Tyler Algier for over 8.5 rushing attempts is seemingly a fun one for PrizePicks right now. We can see Marvin Mims Jr. under 1.5 receptions, another decent one. Cole Caulfield for over 3.5 shots on goal. So we are getting some interesting ones right now. And I didn't check. I don't know if those NHL ones are ones that go live in 10 minutes from now from when I'm recording this video, or if they are actually tomorrow. My bad if they are. That's gonna be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to give a like and subscribe. Do appreciate that. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's have a good slate tomorrow, as well as the best that we have out tonight. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys want access to those cheat sheets at 95sports.com, get access to those for just $10 a month. Thanks for watching. As always, let's keep cashing.